and guess what? Well, dude, we said we'd always get an audience. We got one.
We got him, mate.
That's great. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. It's been a while between drinks, but we're back again, and we've just finished the Enforcer and the Dude Drive Day here at Norwell Motorplex, and we've had a fantastic day. So all the our people that came along for the drive day, part of the deal was they get to sit in on this Enforcer and the Dude show, which is pretty cool. So we've just done it, been out in the track, they've had a ball, now we get to do a bit of that TV stuff. So fantastic. We're always, as normal, my co-pilot in all this. He's a multiple Bathurst winner, stadium truck champion. He was named Dirty Dangerous Dude.
Yeah.
I'm jealous. I want that tag. Everyone, Paul Morris.
Thanks, Russ. Good to be here, mate. That's a good introduction. I didn't hit you once out there today, mate.
No, no, you got me going out when we did the races.
Oh, on the outlap.
Gave me a bit of an
yeah,
edge.
I was just letting you know I was behind you.
No, it was fantastic. I mean, this is the third day that we've had.
Yeah.
Enforcer and the Dude Drive Day.
Conditions were against us, but gee, we had some fun, didn't we?
Typical Queensland. Like every time we have one of these days, we've had before where it's been wet as well, and we rock out here and it's cyclonic conditions, and I thought she was going to be all over, but thanks to our great attendance today, attendees, that they pressed on. Everyone came out here and had a fantastic day.
So Robbo with the Whisperer and his driving crew did a great job.
I've got to tell you, Paul, this one of the best things about the Norwell Motorplex, and anyone that hasn't been out here should come out here, because the biggest part of it is the instructors, because they're either racing identities in themselves, people like Steve Owen, who's been there and done that, and won plenty of races and endurance races. Brock Feeney, the new up-and-comer, and all the other instructors as well. They've all done some sort of form of motorsport, so they're the real deal. And that's what I really like about it, because they're good at what they do, they're passionate about what they do. They
are, and they like seeing people have a good time enjoying their driving, so that's what we're about here at Norwell, for sure. Yeah, for sure. And, yep, these guys had a great time. So we're gonna press right on in amongst it, dude. Going to do our usual. So review, because we haven't been on for a little while, for a few months, so there's been a lot happening, and when we all thought there wasn't going to be any motor racing this year, there was, and plenty of it. When you look at MotoGP, F1, Supercars, which did a fantastic job of even getting out there and getting a championship in. But everyone across the globe that in motorsport did a pretty unreal job in these trying circumstances to even get their championships in. It's a good point, Russ, because it's not like a football team or any other ball sport team where you can just chuck everyone on a bus and all you got to worry about is the ball. You got all the officials, the crew, all that stuff, and for a lot of those MotoGP and F1 teams, they've been living in hubs, as Supercars basically was. So, and the biggest thing that Supercars had to deal with was every state government had a different idea of what we should be doing. I thought we all lived in Australia, but apparently we all live in different states in this joint now. So, so we need a Prime Minister that can grab the throttle and pull everyone together. So, and how they dealt with that.
Mate, like I said, it's Supercars. Well, anyone that ran a championship did a fantastic job, because, like I said, to have some states differing in others, and because teams are so far spread.
Yeah, and a moving target
Sydney,
too, Russ.
Melbourne.
You just didn't know if you're going to wake up one day and you weren't allowed to go to that state just because they found a bit of COVID in a turd in Bathurst or something.
Nice. Yep. Wasn't one of yours, was it, dude? Was it?
It could have been.
All right, let's clean it up. Let's go. Let's start off with F1 as well. Over the past couple of seasons, especially last season, I thought, and I've said it before on this show, I thought it's been pretty average sort of racing around. But actually, this year wasn't bad. And one of the best races was, unfortunately, where the 7-time world champion wasn't in, was Hamilton. It was a cracking race. Yeah. And I felt for George Russell. And how's the excitement around George Russell going from Williams and into the Mercedes. A lot of hype.
Yeah, and we've got that as another topic, but we're on it. We might as well talk about it. But for me, like I hang around a lot of young guys that race, from 15-year-old go-karters up to early 20s, and they were excited that George Russell was going to get a chance.
Yep.
So I think by Formula One, getting these young guys in there, they're dynamic, they're fast, they relate with the younger crowd. So
He's got a bit of personality too. I thought he spoke really well, you know, considering...
You're not going to get that far being a dickhead in this sport, eh?
No, true. He's no slouch, but I thought he handled himself...
After the disappointment of what happened? After the letdown?
Yeah.
He handled himself good?
Oh, but even before on the lead-up there, can you imagine the pressure of just rolling in to the #1 biggest team in the world...
I reckon he's ready for it,
following and jumping into the seat of a 7-time world champion with Lewis Hamilton.
You've got to wind back the clock, Russ. What would you done at that age? That would have been an opportunity you just would have taken. You wouldn't have been...
Oh, mate,
you wouldn't have been nervous.
I'm glad he did. I'm glad he did, you know, and you could actually see it by some of the interviews that he did, that he was saying, oh, well, there's no expectations, but now and then he'd go, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm going to have a dip at this, and why wouldn't you? Like, you know, what's going to happen? You shunt the thing, well, okay, you're not going to get a drive. You finish 5th or 10th, you're not going to get a drive anyway, so you might as well have a dip, and he had a fair one. Like, the loser out of all of that, I think, was Bottas. You know, he's been smashed up by Hamilton, but I think he gets away with it because Hamilton, you know, everyone expects Hamilton win.
Yeah.
You know, because let's face it, no matter what you think about Lewis Hamilton, and he's a weird cat outside the car and seemed to be getting weirder, but inside, and not just in Formula One, but all the categories been in right from karts. If anyone thinks Lewis Hamilton is just about Mercedes, about the car, go back and look at some of his kart racing. Seriously good steerer, you know, there's no doubt about that. But, you know, to actually jump in that car and outperform Bottas, that was a bit of nail in the coffin.
Yeah, so what's going to happen? Hamilton coming back? Is he re-signed? Nothing yet?
Who knows? Who knows? He fancies himself as a bit of a musician or something, doesn't he now?
I don't know.
Songs or something. I don't know. That's all a bit weird. But put it this way, George Russell's on the map now, so that's a good thing. So
it is a good thing.
Yeah. I'm going to, because I'm never wrong, I'll say I was mistaken. How's that? All right. I may, when that halo came out, right? When that halo came out, I thought this is soft. Like, seriously. You look at motorbikes or whatever, they don't have halos around them, and I thought, no way, it's destroying what F1 is about. You know, you like to see the driver with their head out the cockpit and all the rest of it. But I'll tell you what, after that Grosjean's accident in the Haas, that saved his life, big soul. And we got some footage of that too.
Yeah, he wouldn't have a head, would he?
Hey?
He wouldn't have a head on his shoulders of it.
No, not at all, I must admit. But I mean, the severity of it, and like I said, there's not often that I say that I'm wrong.
But you're wrong.
Mistaken, mate. But I mean, he went straight under the barrier. He sort of half brought it on himself too, by the way, because he's come straight across the field there.
There he
and
is.
Tagged, yeah. So he hasn't looked in his mirrors and just pulled right. But you know, forgetting that, that was a serious hit, and if it wasn't for that halo, she'd be all over, wouldn't it?
It's gone through the barrier, you see. The car's
Yep.
gone through the barrier.
That's all there is to it.
Yeah. So I mean, that's and I think all the other drivers as well have pretty well come along now and said, yep, if it wasn't for that, should be it'd be over. So now all of a sudden, all the drivers have said, halo no good. We love the halo. So
I think it's like when the hands device come out, we all put them on and thought, what's this stupid thing around our neck? We all hated it.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Then now we don't get in a car without one, so...
Yeah.
They used to say the same thing about seatbelt, mate. Seatbelts, they wanted to fall out of the car so they didn't stay with it and catch fire, so... Yeah. It's evolution.
We should touch on F2 racing as well, because there's Formula 2 or GP2. There's Mick Schumacher won the championship this year. Racing has been unbelievably good, and someone that we guest that's going to come on the show halfway through is a big fan of it too, and he might be able to tell us a little bit more, because he's friends with a couple of the teams within GP2.
Yeah.
Great racing. And I think it shows that since they've gone to the bigger diameter wheel and tyre combination, tyres are a lot smaller, the cars are really jittery, you know, they really feel the bumps and the things are hard to drive, and it's putting it back into the driver now instead of the car. And you can see they're always on the edge.
Yeah, I think it's good. Obviously, the cars look better with the bigger rims and tyres on them. I think it's more modern, more relevance. Tyre deg, the drivers have got to manage tyre deg as well, which is an important thing. So obviously they've got that combination right, and all the cars are pretty much the same. You know, it's the cookie cutter car, so it's up to the team and the driver. And you know, for me, I'd rather watch that than Formula One. If they just put F1 on the side of those things and put all the drivers in, and what would be the problem with that?
The race, it's probably been the best ever.
Yeah.
Of GP2, honestly, it's been such good racing, and the good thing about it is they're obviously learning something, because the drivers that are coming out of that category are jumping straight into the main, you know,
F1.
into F1 and standing out, going good. So they're obviously learning. So the progression is obviously working. I think it's a great map. They just have to sort out Formula One. It's still too much of a gap, and I think I go back to using George Russell again. He's jumped back in the Williams.
You got no chance.
And back of the field again.
Yeah.
You know, so unfortunately, it is still too car orientated in Formula One. They got to sort that crap out and get all the teams more even. But definitely the progression to it seems to be working really nice.
Yeah.
GP3, GP2.
That car dominance in F1 has been there in the past, but there's always, you know, been 2 or 3 car teams that were pretty good. But that reign of Mercedes is, yeah. For me, it's the best thing that happened was someone else drive the car and see how good he's going to go in it, and man, it must be a pretty good car.
Yes, yeah, it's not bad. I reckon he would have been pretty happy after the first practice session. MotoGP, again, very unpredictable season. A lot of back-to-back races like everyone's done in motorsport across the globe. It's actually been interesting without Marquez, isn't it? Because it's a bit like Hamilton, you know, when Marquez, you expect him to win. He's going to be on the podium, if not winning races.
Yep.
So it was so unpredictable this season, and Suzuki's got up and got the cup, but I think the biggest standout of all is that how good Marquez is because of how bad everyone else has been. I say bad.
Like the performance of the Honda without Marquez.
Yeah. Unbelievable difference. Imagine him on a good bike. I'm not sure whether the Honda is actually that good or it's very unique to ride, but can you imagine him on something that is really good? The dude's just, he's insane how good he is.
Yeah, it's a good point. But Honda's always been a bit like that. You know, when Mick was riding a Honda, no one else could really match him.
Yeah, that's true.
You had that with Casey and the Ducati.
Yep.
Somehow he could ride the Ducati and no one else could. So that if the development goes in the way that they want to ride the bike, I think it can be to Marquez's style so much where no one else can ride it. And the difference between a car is, you know, the bike, the rider's so active on the bike, shifting his weight, what he does.
Yep.
So it's a good point. Can anyone else ride the Honda? Probably not. And what's he on his 4th operation now, trying to fix himself?
Yeah, it was a bit silly, and he's come out in the press just recently, admitted he came on too early.
Yeah.
Actually came out, the plate broke and caused more damage. So he said, I just come back too early. So it looks like he's going to make sure he stays off the thing, fix himself properly, and then get back out there. Yeah, it's pretty. The guy's good though, eh? Like, seriously, I know I get what you're saying about the bike, but even still, I think if he jumped on something else, he'd be even a KTM or, you know, the Suzuki.
Yeah, he has to be. So
yeah, the dude's out there. Anything else that?
Oh, I think Jack Miller.
Jack Miller was good. Yeah.
Yeah, he learnt to stay on the bike, which for me, you'd watch Jack race and you'd just be waiting for him to just make that mistake. And in the last back half of that championship, he's been fast and consistent on the bike, staying on the thing. With him going to that factory bike, I think that's going to be
good signing by Ducati. They must be patting themselves on the back and going, whew, okay, because
he's come good.
You know, considering they sort of flicked a Vizioso, so, you know, and he's a good steerer, so a good peddler. But yeah, you're right. Jack's just must be just coming of age. You know, stop thinking about taken it too far over the limit.
He's learnt to live on
Pulled
the
it back
edge,
a notch.
not fall off.
Yeah, so he's in for a real good season, and let's face it, he's going to be a championship contender as well.
Wouldn't it be good to have another Australian MotoGP champion?
Wouldn't be bad. Yeah, well, we did that. I mean, how cool was it when we did that interview with Mick Doohan and walked through his house with all those bikes and just looking at the history of and what they go through as well. You know, he's got his jars of nut and bolts there.
Yeah.
You know, of what he's pulled out of his body. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, it is.
Remy Gardner.
It's a good one, isn't it?
Won the last.
He's got his dad's determination, mate.
Yeah.
Because, like, when you looked at his career, you're like, is he ever going to come good? Is he ever going to come good? And he's down the road and he's fallen off the bike and he just gets back on and gets back on. And to have that factory, it's on the factory KTM, I think, now, in Moto 2. Yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about that too. So, and then the thing with him, they reckon he's a big boy for even a Moto 2 bike. So if he can get to Moto GP, that's where he probably will be a standout.
A very few sort of father-son combos following the same footsteps very rarely work, but it looks like that one is. As you said, he seems to have his dad's sort of grit and determination.
Definitely.
Then just gets on with it, and even when he throws himself down the road, he sort of gets up, dusts himself off and back on it again. He's back twisting the throttle even harder, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Let's go to TCR land. Your favourite. You love TCRs, don't you? TCR cars?
Not really, no.
You love them. You love them, mate. Huh? They just paddle shift and you go back and sit back and have a fat old time. It's nice.
Oh, you've driven them?
Yeah, they're good. I think they're for older guys, you know.
Yeah.
Speed doesn't scare you. You know, you kick back and it's good. It's all nice and gentle. No, physical, really good. Don't have to leave the steering wheel. You could take a sandwich with you and have something to eat along the way and still change gears. It's great. Yeah, they're a cool thing. Announcement that Gary Rogers now owns 47.5% in the ARG group.
Yeah.
Which is the S5000s and
S5000, TCR. What else have they got? Trans Am, TA2 cars.
So their own little
racing
category.
Circus.
Yep.
Pretty well linked up, paralleled with Motorsport Australia. So
what's the deal there? Was he? Well, he's heavily invested, and obviously he's very publicised departure from Supercars. He obviously still wanted to go racing. He's the one that manufactures and puts together the S5000s as well. He got the deal to do that.
Yeah, so GRM, they build all those cars. They practically run 70% of the TCR grid. So, you know, in my opinion, it looks like if he doesn't buy into the company and keep it going, he's got no cars to work on.
Yep.
So that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah. Bit of money changed hands, or maybe either way, or maybe they've just let him invest in it.
I don't know. I doubt he'd be making any money. So why would you pay for something that doesn't make any money?
No, true.
Maybe they just roped him. I don't know what the deal is, but
definitely the out of all the motorsports, that's probably they suffered the most because of the locations of the teams. They couldn't get out and about, and they couldn't run their championship. So it's really hurt them because they were starting to make a bit of headway. Now they've sort of dropped off.
Profile-wise?
Profile-wise, yeah.
Yeah, I think profile-wise, it's hurt them. Probably not to the extent you think, because it's not. For me, it's a participant-based motorsport. It's not something that people go and watch. And if the cars are parked up, they're not costing anyone any money to run. So it's not like supercars where, you know, people are actually full-time employed running teams.
Yep.
And there, you know, you can just park up and put your car up on jack stands and not run it. So
the 7 deal should give them a little bit of a leg up.
It's a weird one. I think 7 may be looking to see, you know, thinking that all those other car manufacturers involved, maybe they can get a bit of their advertising revenue and keep it to 7. Maybe something like that. But if the racing's good and it's entertaining to watch, it'll make good TV if they can do the TV package right.
If they
definitely have to do it better than they did last time.
Well, if they get a few name brands in there too, the Tandas and Carusos of the world, and still keep running it. They need names in there. It's like any category. You still got to have names in there.
Well, I only watched it when you were in it.
At the same time I watched it when I was in it. So that makes 2 of us. Fair bit of news coming around in the place, which is always a worry for motorsport in general, because obviously the direction of where motoring is heading, and it's all heading towards electric vehicles, EVs, in different configurations, where VW announced that it's pulling out worldwide, bar, I think, the Dakar. They're building a Dakar car, truck, whatever, pulling out worldwide. Bentley's out of GT3 as an official factory deal. There was, I think, Audi. There was another one too that actually pulled out as well. There's BMW pulled out of Formula E as well.
They did, with Andretti, yeah.
Yeah, so it's always a worrying sign when you see big manufacturers pulling out of all forms of motorsport as such, when really manufacturer support is well needed in motorsport worldwide, not just in Australia.
Well, it always happens. They come and go, Russ, but yeah, the trend is now that they're not as involved as they have been, which, you know, just when manufacturers get involved, they get into an arms race with each other and the costs go up, and then it gets too expensive and they can't compete anymore and they get out, then they'll come back in one day and go, why aren't we in motor racing? I think that trend will happen. But the one for me is, it's, you know, everyone's telling everyone, all these people that make up the strategies in these car companies are making electric vehicles and that's all we're going to be making, but I don't know anyone who wants to drive one. Like, if you live in Australia, it's no good to you, is it?
My wife drives an EV, a hybrid. A hybrid, yeah. And look, someone who's old school, you know, push rod V8, you know, as far as I'm concerned, the more stuff that comes out that exhaust, and the more petrol we can throw down the injector, the better, right? I got to tell you, I sort of half get it. I half get it for a domestic, everyday car. You know, there's no doubt about it that
run around
consumption is less.
Town
you know,
car.
hardly for a town car.
Yeah.
Town car, hardly even see a service station in months. I sort of get it, and a lot of people are in that segment, I think. But you got to look at it for what it is. You know, I don't think we can lose the fact that we still need petrol engines. We still need a release, you know, of going back and jumping in a car that's loud and brash and rough and all the rest of it. But then when we go into the office, we jump into something else. You know, there still has to be... Especially
in a big country like we are, Russ. Like, you live 20 minutes out of town, an EV vehicle's no good to you.
Well, that's it too.
You're driving half an hour to get to the shop. So.
Yeah, well, if you're in a 4x4, it's going to be diesel, it's going to be petrol.
Yeah.
Whatever they're going to be making in the future. But I sort of do get it, though. I sort of do get it for towns, and I can see why a lot of countries around the world are starting to head towards, they're going to say by whatever it is, 5-10 years' time, they're only going to allow electric vehicles in the city.
They're mandating it now.
So Paris is very close.
But is it just to make the hipsters feel good about themselves?
Well, you see, the balance of cost versus what you're saving with fuel still isn't there yet, but it's getting closer. It's getting closer to break-even point, and in future years they'll start becoming cheaper as obviously technology becomes cheaper and all the rest of it. So, but at the moment, I mean, yeah, you're hard pressed to sort of go, yeah, I'm going to have to keep this thing for 10 years before I see a benefit out of it.
Yeah, okay.
So I might as well keep putting the hose in, you know. So, but it's coming though. It's coming, and that's why I think decisions, and we'll talk about this later when we talk about supercars and where they're going to be heading.
Yeah.
You got to start basing your sport around. Forget manufacturers, mate. Forget manufacturers. You got to look at it as a sporting code now. Forget everything else. And on that theme, it's leading me, and I'm taking a risk here, dude. I'm taking a risk here because as soon as this show goes to air, I'm getting all the Ford keyboard warriors, right, will smash me up, right? Really? Just smash me up. Yeah,
even though you won the title for it.
And you know I respond really well to that sort of stuff too, you right? I'm not even sure whether I've been doing this, but I'm going to do it. Rightio. Oh. Okay, so we all seen the demise of Holden in this country. Sad. Wouldn't you agree? Total, I mean, devastation of, number one, how it was handled, how the exit was handled, and how it happened altogether. And the sad thing about it, if they were manufacturing cars now, probably with a sentiment about other countries at the moment, there'd probably be a success. People would still be going out and buying Holden cars. I know I will be. Jump in the last VF Commodore road car and go drive it, or the last Falcon that was built, and you're still driving down the road. I jumped in a Falcon Ute the other day that I borrowed off a company to go pick up some bricks, right? Yeah, and I'm driving this thing, I'm going, how good's this? This thing is a bloody good car, you know, and we don't make it in this country anymore, and it's just so sad. The point that I'm going to run with here, stay with me. It's going to be a journey, right? And it could crash. Is that I saw you know, John Cadogan, right? John Cadogan runs. He's got this online sort of car review show on YouTube, and he's pretty out there. Like, I actually like it because he just gives it to car companies. Car companies, and he's a mechanical engineer as well, so he's not one of these motoring journalists that's a deal. He actually knows the mechanics side of it, and when someone's done the wrong thing, bad service, he smashes the hell out of them. But if something's good and you get good service, he says, yeah, this thing's a good jigger. He pointed out about Ford Australia as a company, how fragile it is in this country, and that it could wind up how Holden did. And so I started watching, I went, okay, well what's he on about? And he started rolling out a few stats. He said, okay, it could quite easily, in a heartbeat, end up, the business model as such of Ford Australia could stop in a heartbeat, right? So, okay, what's he on about? Right, so he goes, right, first thing he said, Mustang. They bring Mustang into this country, right? First year, in 2017, he sold 9,000 Mustangs, or Ford sold 9,000, which is a bloody good result. Whole scheme of things, 9,000 sports cars, was the biggest selling sports car in the country by a country.
It's a touring car, mate.
A sports car.
Well,
classified as a sports car.
Have to go and run GT, mate, if it's in...
Don't let facts get in the way of a good story, dude. Seriously. You just... Right. Okay. So that was 2017. By 2018, sales fell by 30%. By 2019, it fell by 38%. And 2020, year to date, end of October, it fell 36% to 2,900 units sold so far to the end of October 2020.
Yeah,
right.
Everyone that wanted one's now got one.
Yeah, massive decline, yeah. Right? So the momentum didn't build. So it was there, and the graphs gone
I think
down.
they would have predicted that.
And go and hit the deck. I'm following on. Okay, I'm getting there. All right. So you take Ranger and Everest sales, right? And like I said, this is John Cadogan's figures, and I've checked on him, and he's pretty well on the money. 32,000 in Ranger, 41,000 overall when you take Ranger and Everest, which is Everest is an SUV on a Ranger chassis, basically. So same. 41,000 as of October 2020. That's 80% of their sales, of Ford Australia sales, 80% of their sales is in 2 models out of 10 models that they make.
Yep.
Right? And basically a lot of them is just the Ranger, right? Again, just to point out to all these Ford fans, I drive a Ranger, all right? I drive a Ranger, so I've got nothing against them. I reckon they're a hell of a truck, no problems at all. But this is just facts on how fragile that Ford could be in this country. So 2021, they're bringing out a new Ranger, completely new, with a joint venture with VW, with the Amarok.
I see where you're going.
Sketchy details coming on about this, right?
Yeah,
so you're getting there, aren't you? You're getting there.
Yeah.
Whether it's going to be an Amarok-based chassis with a Ford engine, or Ford engine or a Volkswagen engine in a Ford chassis.
If they get the new Ranger wrong, they could be history.
Bang. Yeah. And don't say it can't happen. Everyone remembers the X-Class Mercedes, right? It glorified a hot-rodded Nissan.
Yeah.
Navara, basically.
Hold them with the
gone.
German Commodore.
Less than 2-3 years, X-Class is gone, right? Yeah. Because people went, well, hang on, I'm not going to pay 75 grand for that. I'm going to buy a Navara for 45,000 or 50,000, whatever it is.
Well, what about Toyota?
So,
Hilux is their biggest seller.
But they've got about 20 models and everyone's a top seller.
Yeah, okay, right.
So you could have a hiccup there, and they're double the sales of any other manufacturer in this country, double the sales. So you could get hit by 30% and still come out on top.
I reckon Toyota have got brand loyalty too, because they've been such good trucks to a lot of Australians.
Well, they've got good models at the right price point in every single model. So they can't go, when your business model is made up in total, right, of, well, it's really one model, we're going to benefit the doubt with 2, man, that's risky. Get this next Ranger wrong, right, get it wrong. I'm not saying they will. Get it wrong, people don't like the look of it. Apparently the shape's changed a lot, a bit like an F-150 truck sort of front. People don't like the look of it, and there's plenty to choose from now. New D-Max come out, not a bad thing. New Mazda. You know, depends on what they do with Holden, whether they bring out the US Colorado, which is a tough-looking little truck in that segment, and Walkinshaw's converter, or it might be right-hand. There's so much to choose from out there, and put on top of that, you know, the Koreans are coming too, you know, as well. LDV, that's Chinese brand.
Yeah, yep. LDV,
they're making good numbers. I mean, they've tripled their sales in as many years. So things are coming at them, you know, and I'll tell you what, for the motor industry and for motorsport as such in this country, this is a long-winded circle that I've gone around. Yeah. But I've come around to saying, whatever supercars do in the future, do not rely on manufacturers as being part of the game. You cannot, including the only one that is in there being Ford, because have a hiccup and and you know yourself, first thing to get dropped is your marketing budget. So
yeah, well, look, I get your point, and I'm pretty sure the people at Supercars could see that too. Like, they're trying to talk to those manufacturers, and I'm sure they're not getting much joy. So hence why Gen 3 is so important, mate.
More than ever.
Yeah, more than ever. So I reckon if they don't get that right, well.
Yep.
Last one out, turn off the lights, you know?
Yep, agree.
Yeah.
All right, now we've got a new segment.
Yep.
Brand new segment, dude.
That was a long segment, that one. Yeah.
That was a long segment. Yeah, it's good that we say it's going to be, we always do this, folks, an hour show and 2.5 hours later. Anyway, that's a good thing about being online is you can do whatever the hell you want to do. So
the long and short it was, the Ranger's a good truck.
The Ranger is it, mate. The Ranger's a good truck. Yeah. I should have probably just said that, shouldn't I? There it is. And I do drive one. Don't smash me up. Anyway, boost segment, right?
Yep.
Thought about this and go, what were they like?
Boost Mobile.
Yeah, Boost a bit out there. Boost is a bit out there.
You've called it the Movers and Shakers segment. The
Movers and Shakers.
Is that named after Pete Adderton, the founder of Boost Mobile? Because he's a mover and a shaker.
He's a mover shaker. All right, have you got your movers and shakers sorted? So this is... I
got some movers.
This is
go with the movers first?
Yeah, movers can be who's moving around from teams and motorsport in general.
Yeah.
Supercars. Don't want to give supercars too much of a leg up here. And then shakers is who's shaking up things in motorsport.
Yeah, well, I've got movers. And,
who you got, mate?
Well, I got to declare an interest, Anton. So him leaving Erebus and going to DJR, just up the road. That's a good move.
Yep.
Good move by him. I think he proved he's ready for that move. He survived in looked like a pretty hostile environment down there at Erebus at the time. Dave Reynolds couldn't hack it, or he's on my movers too. So I got another theory about that.
Okay, cool, good.
So yeah, Anton, what do you
it's good. And yeah, look, I'll go with that. And if it was a deal, and I thought you had vested interest in him, I'd still tell you it was a deal. But he's done the European thing. I regard anyone that's had a swing in Europe and had success, which he did. I think it's vital for race experience and actually just for mindset.
Yeah.
You know, getting that killer instinct, which I still think he needs a little bit more of. He's a little bit placid, but he'll get there. But you can learn to do that, but he's got the skill set.
Yeah,
he's got the skill set.
I don't think you need to kill someone for fourth place. So I think you'll see the killer come out in him.
Was that my problem?
Well, my problem too, mate. I did it for 24th place.
yeah, that was it.
But
I've seen a few of them.
I think once you see him where he can win a race, will he be a killer? Yeah, for sure he'll be a killer.
And he's going to keep growing too, keep growing into the position, and he'll learn more with the guys around him. So it's a good move.
Mover.
It is a good move for him.
So you want me to talk about Reynolds?
Go on.
He's moving.
Yep.
So my opinion, I got this off you, Russ.
Okay.
So no one sues me, you say my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to foregone conclusion. He's going to Kelly's and he's taken the sponsor with him. That's what I reckon.
Okay, in your opinion?
In my opinion. And I reckon he's had it planned for a long time. So I reckon that's, you know, he wasn't getting on with Barry. Wasn't, you know, a lot hostile environment there. You've seen Betty come out and say she hasn't spoke to him. So
it's a bit really unusual because it was like the biggest love fest on earth and everything was travelling along really well. And it just seemed to happen, happened to happen before Bathurst, it seemed. And it was just really, really unusual.
Yeah.
So. Okay, so you reckon that's where it's all heading?
I reckon that's where it's all heading. I could be wrong, but we've got a pretty good crystal ball here.
Yeah.
And when you add up...
Yeah, we've gone pretty good.
Add up all the signals,
yeah.
That's where I think it's going.
Because why would you just leave a team when you've supposedly... I'm not sure about the whole 10-year deal. It was always a bit weird in my thoughts. But anyway, why would you leave a home if you had one?
Don't know. Yeah, but obviously the relationship's broken down. How it has, where it has, that's not up to decide. But I reckon he's...
Well, he must have a drive because you just wouldn't walk out on a drive into nothing.
No, and when you see Dave, he's still happy Dave. He's bouncing around like he doesn't look like he's stressing out. Doesn't look like a bloke who hasn't got a drive.
Yeah, so something's on.
He's on.
Yeah.
He's on.
Okay, all right.
And then I got another mover, which unless you've got one.
No, you go. You go.
I got a vested interest here too.
Oh, God. Okay.
Brock Feeney.
Oh, yeah, yep.
So gone from the factory Ford team as a Super 2 driver and then gone to Triple Eight. We haven't seen that before where teams have invested in young guys and put time into them and then I think Roland snipped him on that one. He's got a good guy there and good to see that someone of that talent has got those sort of teams looking for their services.
Yeah, it's a big thing for Brock too because he's after Bathurst, obviously in the boost car.
Would have been a hard decision to make.
Yeah, it was. I mean, a lot's been thrown at him in a short period of time.
Yeah,
you can easily get, and I sort of liked his approach. I was keeping an eye on. I think everyone was expecting him to come out and try and be faster than James but he actually approached it the right way because if you bin the thing at Bathurst, nothing's going to end your career faster. Something like that. So his approach too did a good solid job, didn't try to be a hero, which a lot of young drivers try and do, and no matter what, Courtney's still a good steerer, so
benchmarked himself there well.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a good one.
That's it. That's mine. I don't know if you got any,
but no. Not that I care to talk about. Yeah, you did it anyway. Shakers.
Well, I got a vested interest here too.
Seriously, who haven't you got?
I don't know, mate. I don't know, I just must have good talent on my books. But
I don't know.
My shaker's Brody Kostecki, the way he shook up Bathurst, the way he drove the car at Bathurst.
By the way, this segment wasn't designed for this, by the way.
But you said,
this is because we haven't discussed any of this beforehand, all right?
No, we don't.
Have we discussed this? We haven't. I just said, here's a segment, think of someone, and because we've been doing the drive day, we haven't had a chance to talk about it.
No. And you can talk about it, but the way he drove that car, he was in with the main game guys. I thought my phone's going off.
That's a slab for you, by the way. That's a slab for all the crew, dude. So you're on. All right.
Yeah. So he put it on the line, drove his heart out, and
put Wink up in the wall.
Well, he just drove the car. I think this is the way I look at it. And I might be wrong, but I think all the drivers coming through look at the way Craig drove, or look at the way Jamie drove, and look at the way Frosty drove, and they try to emulate what they do. Yeah. But Brody's got this style and the way he drives the car and does things with it that, because he's grown up racing in America, they sort of don't know what he's going to do. And I think Jamie just come across someone that he couldn't really predict, and it caught him out. So.
Yeah, you're copying, like people are going, oh, you can see the dude trained him. You can see that.
But he didn't hit anyone.
No, I know. I know. Well, sometimes you didn't hit anyone, they still crashed.
Yeah. but he held his own, did a good job. And because he did that, he'll get a drive. He'll get a drive because you look at all the... you're a team owner and you're sitting there and you're going, who am I going to employ? There's 3 or 4 guys that can make a difference to your race team.
Yeah.
And whether that's internally, you look at someone like Davo, who's now at DJR, whatever team he does and goes to, he makes a difference somewhere.
And he's done a lot of racing. It's not like
Yeah,
he
has
done a lot of racing in
So
America.
he's a mover as well.
That wasn't publicised as well.
He should have been your mover, mate, because he got shaken out and moved back in, Davo. But you look at those sort of guys, and if you can't employ one of them, go and find the next one.
Yeah.
And so Brodie will get a ride somewhere just from that performance.
Yeah.
I got another shaker too, but we've already mentioned him, and that was Remy Gardner for the way.
Yeah, we were. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I think. Yeah, you're right. Brodie was actually. It's a good pick.
Yeah.
I like Brodie. He's got a grunt though, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's got mongrel in him.
Well,
and
30
I use
years
the word
ago, he'd be
mongrel.
Larry Perkins. He would have been able to build his own car, turn up to the track and drive it.
Do you still think that's a necessity in a driver to know the mechanical side of it?
I don't think it's a necessity, not with...
A help in your whole portfolio of how to go
Definitely a
driving.
big help. You look at Craig Lowndes, he was a mechanic. You know, you used to work on all your own cars and stuff,
Yep.
so it's...
I seriously think it's an advantage.
Definitely.
Because if you can pinpoint a little bit better for your engineers where the problem might lie, not try and be an engineer, but just direct them a little bit, because if you just come in and say, things are dog, I'm going to get lunch.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't give them much info.
Yeah.
If you go, look,
Point them in the right direction.
Yeah, if I think it needs a bit more roll bar, or it seems a bit softer in the spring, or the shock doesn't seem right, at least they can arrow towards that, and it gives your engineers, your mechanics a bit of a heads up what's going on.
Yeah, and that'll be Brodie's biggest thing, is not to be too technical and just drive, which is what we spoke about at Bathurst, was just to don't think you're going to jump out of the car and change the springs, just drive the car.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, my shaker's Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
Seriously, I know...
Shakes it up.
Well, mate, I just look at his racecraft. You know, he's thinking 3 laps ahead. You know, and what really impressed me was Bathurst. Seriously, that last 20 laps, maximum pressure when anyone else could have easily thrown it in the fence. You know, he's on pretty old tyres. Had 3 restarts towards the end there, and nothing.
Managed the tyre well, didn't he?
But
he just sat there and watched.
Yeah.
Cam, where he's out, then went right time to go, mate.
Yeah. Just aggression all the way, driving on the limit, and you know, I only watched the last 25 laps of Bathurst because that's when the race starts, and it's just damn good. Like that was. I sent a text message to him a couple of weeks after, once everyone stopped patting him on the back, and I said to him, look, not much impresses me nowadays. That drive did, you know, and sent my back, so thanks, you know.
Garth's stint's brilliant too.
Yeah.
Garth was very good too.
Yeah, well, funny enough, a couple of people asked me before the race who to put money on, you know. A concreter that's actually doing some work for me. Love concreters, good guys. And
Did you get a deal?
No, well...
No, I can't see the sign anywhere.
Funny you should say that. Yeah. Sam's Concreting Services, brought to you by... Actually, it's Samson Concreting. Hi to the guys from Samson. Anyway, he asked me for a tip, and I said, without hesitation, Tander. And I said, why? Well, you got the last good guy out of the saddle.
Yeah.
That's your co-driver. Really good at Bathurst, knows how to win. The ego's gone out of him, you know, so he's not trying to challenge to get another drive again, you know. And then you got Shane.
Yeah.
One of the best drivers in the field, so it's no-brainer.
Good.
Absolute no-brainer, and they did.
See him,
so, hey, speaking of Shane, and we can tie this in with the whole shaker thing, right? I want to show you something, because this is where I reckon things are missing out of the whole category, right?
Oh, I know what you got going on here.
Rightio. Now, everyone will remember this, won't they? So, dives down the inside, right? This Townsville, this is going for the lead, right? Oh, I'll just run you a little bit wide, and then, thank you, Jamie Winkup, I'll just help my teammate as well, and happy days, and there it was. So, whoa.
What's going on?
That might have been a home movie, guys. So maybe we'll just... I may have downloaded the wrong video, but anyway. Julia? Yeah.
No.
But anyway, we'll get to that one soon too. But that was... what came out of that was Scott initially Again, 4 guys are going to smash me out. I think I'm having a Ford Fest today. But he did come out and said, oh, that wasn't very sporting and that. But you know what? At the end of the day, that's what racing's about, and that's what's missing. That's what's missing, that sort of racecraft, and I would have done exactly the same thing. Like at the end of the day, and you would have
let him make the corner.
No, I thought that was quite good. I would have made sure he touched the fence.
You would have had a donut in the door.
But that's what's missing. You know, there's still too much from the races I've watched. There's still too much gentleman racing going on.
Okay.
You know, you need hardcore stuff like that going. If you had even 40% of the drivers driving like that, you'd have a better championship.
Yep.
You know, at the moment, you've probably got 10%.
Yeah,
you know? You need half the field having a good dig.
Well, you've got to relax the rules so they don't get sprung for...
Well, brings me to my next one, mate.
Oh, right.
So this was a post that was put up just after us. Well, this was back in September, right? So David Sierra's, he's been 85 times Australian champion, go-kart champion. Never really got into cars, did he? But it's one of the seriously good peddlers in cars. So that's what he tweeted. If we've got people talking about race cars overtaking each other and hanging someone out wide, we've got some serious issues. That move was taught when I was 7 years old, racing karts. Pass, squeeze old mate to the marbles, and press on again and take the advantage. And then Craig Baird, who's the driver standards. What do they call them nowadays?
DSO, driving standards.
Whatever. The official for driving standards. A last of brain. People whinge with no passing, and then when the whinge is when they now whinge when the elbows are out hard. So car cuts everyone off into pit lane. The outside, and we want to hang. That means when. Who got turned around? I think it was Nick.
Waters.
Waters,
yeah.
coming to pit lane.
Right, Shane. He ran into Shane.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So again, I think it's one of those things where you know, certain sector, and it's the online trolls that do a lot of this. You know, if you want a good sport, you've got to stop whinging about when these sort of things. I like passion and interaction, all the rest of it, but sport is about, you know, tackling. So about going to a footy match and seeing people tackle hard, you know, and that's what's, I reckon's lost out of the sport and needs to get back in. And if someone that's a kart champion can see that, and that's where you learn your racecraft, they can see it. They go, well, hang on, we do that all the time. Every Sunday when we go kart racing, we do that, and there's no drone, but you just expect it.
Yeah, well, there's not a camera in the kart and 20 people watching either. That's half the problem. You give people jobs, they've got to do them.
Is that something when we start talking about Gen 3, maybe we'll throw that at our guest, piss off all those bloody cameras that are in the cars, or the eyes, and we just go back raw, you know, so.
Yeah, well, you know, it's like, do you ever race at Calder Park at night?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get over the back when the lights were pretty dull. There's all sorts of shit going on over the back there, wasn't there? No one could see what was that. It was like...
I fixed Murph up. I fixed Murph up at class. And he, mate, I smashed him so hard. And then everyone saw I was smashing him, so then they smashed him, and it was good.
We should talk to our special guest about that.
Well, yeah, we should. Yeah. Okay, so that's the Boost Australia movers and shakers. It was cool, so we'll carry on with that. Okay, dude, so we were on the track a little bit earlier with our guest, and was showing him a few techniques on wet weather driving because it's been soaking wet here, and I know he's a bit of an average driver at best, so I thought I'll lend some of my knowledge that I've gained for wet weather steering over the years, because I used to love the wet, and went out and gave him a few pointers. All right?
Didn't crash any of my cars?
No, mate. She's not a scratch on it. I'll tell you what. I was nervous. I got to tell you, because you know he's been known. I think his nickname was the Shanghai taxi driver. So he works the wheel and the throttle that hard, you know. So anyway, here it is. So have a look at this with our special guest, who will be meeting straight afterwards. Okay, Roland. Now, there's one thing about you. You reckon?
Break. Oh,
okay. You reckon you know everything, right?
Yeah.
But there's one thing that I know more than you.
Yep.
And that's wet weather driving. All right?
Right.
So what I'm going to do, what this is about, is giving you some tips about wet weather driving.
The benefit of your experience.
Yeah, we'll keep in a bit, mate. It's pretty wet.
Yeah, it is.
There's one thing I was good at was wet weather, right?
Yep.
I was one of the best, if I say so myself.
And you do say so yourself.
I do say so. So I'm going to give you some lines and tips I'll let you go for a couple of corners, right?
Okay.
You just go where you would normally go, right? If you're in the wet. Okay. Oh, Jesus, okay, all right. We can back it off a little bit. All right, so I've got a bit of a question for you.
Yep.
Why are you shuffling the wheel?
Because ask Shane Van Gisbergen. He says I'm the worst shuffler in Australia.
Well, he's dead right. Don't shuffle. Keep your hands across the wheel, because that way when you turn in, if it gets onto a slide, you know where centre of the wheel is.
Yep.
If you're shuffling, you don't know where the centre of the wheel is.
Yep.
You don't know where the wheels are pointing. All right? And the other thing is, second thing, right? While you're swinging on the wheel like you're at a wood chopper, like smooth. Don't break the traction of the wheels. Just as you turn in, nice and smooth.
That's not as fun.
I know it's not as fun, but there's less chance we're going to end up in those trees. So, which I'm real keen on, all right?
Have you seen that lake by the side there?
I've seen the lake, and I don't want to go swimming just yet, all right?
Okay. Tell me when to brake.
Right, there, brake, but squeeze. No, too hard. Squeeze. Pretend you got an air gun to your foot,
Right.
or you pretend you got, I don't know, Scape's head under your foot. In which case you probably want to slam it, but just ease the brake on, because remember, any sudden movement will break the tyres, the traction, and you will just slide off into the scenery. So everything smooth inputs, keep it nice. You're shuffling the wheel.
Sorry.
You've got an attention span of a goldfish. Like, just keep it a little bit smooth. That's it. Hands, nail your thumbs there. Do not let go of the wheel. Oh, I couldn't have done that better. That's it. Nice and smooth. All right. Now I'm gonna tell you a trick.
Yep.
The grip isn't here.
Yep.
The grip isn't on the rubber line.
Yep.
The grip
Exactly.
is where the surface is still rough
Yep.
off the racing line, which is around the outside.
Yep.
Now, it feels a bit spooky initially because you think you're going to go off the track. Instantly feel the grip, even if it's only 2 wheels. You don't have to get all 4 out there.
Yep.
Even if you get the outside 2 on the grippy part, tons more grip. They call it the go-kart line. If you ever see go-kart races, they take the wide line.
Do you remember a Formula Ford guy called Andy Ackley?
Yeah.
He was mega around Brands Hatch.
Yep.
And so he taught me in a Honda CRX years ago the same thing.
Yeah.
Just keep
wide line.
Yeah, the Brands Hatch was very worn out. Remember that?
Yep.
And so he said don't go where everyone else goes
because it's slick. The rubber fills the grooves, and that's what makes it slick. So you go where they don't race in the dry.
Yep.
The surface is rough, so the water sits down into it, so there's more grit. Just go around the outside.
Yep.
Keep going around the outside. It's like you're in the dry.
Yep. No, much
it's
more.
spooky to do. You still got to judge it right. The only problem with doing that is if you do go in too hard, there's no runoff. You can't recover it.
Yep.
Because the next bit is the green stuff. No grip.
Yep.
So there is a downside.
Yeah,
That's where you got to judge your speed. Keep out wide. You see that line there? Yep. Hook it in there and it'll be like on rails.
Yep. Yeah, you're right.
Progression on the throttle. Night and day difference. Same with this. Keep out here. Just one turn on the wheel. Pick the throttle up slowly. Dynamite. And in actual fact, sometimes when you're coming off the corner, it pays to go to the inside.
Yep.
Because again, the acceleration, you won't spin the wheels.
Yeah, there's a bit of aquaplaning.
I tell you what, hang on. We might put the wipers up a gear.
No, it's amazing how much more grip there is off a circuit like this, which is used all the time.
Look at that. It feels like.
Yeah.
So you can feel it through the wheel.
Yeah.
And you can just about drive around the outside of someone there.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous how much more
grip there is.
And yet a lot of people don't pick that up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And you're right, that's a big go-kart thing, isn't it?
That's a big, massive go-kart.
Yeah.
Early days. So you find the people that haven't raced karts don't do it.
Yep.
So a big go-kart.
Now this corner's still got fresh tarmac on it.
How grippy is this new tarmac?
Yeah, this is.
Down
I mean, it's just night and day here, isn't it?
Imagine putting this on the road at roundabouts.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's what's needed.
Well, that's good, dude.
Oh, you're right. I love the...
Impressed.
Yeah. The grip out here is just, I mean, it's... Well, I thought it might run out then, but it didn't.
No,
it's still there.
It's still there.
Yeah. It's a great tip, actually, for people to even think about on the road in roundabouts. Oh, fuck. You're a bigger dickhead than I thought. Wait, how do you start this fucking?
That was a test to see how fast you can recover it. You failed. Take me back. I don't want to do this anymore. You scare me. Oh, jeez. You idiot. Oh, no. Hey, do you know when things go pear-shaped? When you do that one more lap.
I know.
No, you should know that as a teammate. Let's do one more lap. Oh, Jesus. Slow down, Buggy. You idiot. I'm putting the traction control back on. Oh. What'd you think of that, dude? I'll tell you what. He got there towards the end.
I thought I was going to have to replace the steering column bearings.
I was scared. I was a little bit scared. Yeah, I started to clench a little bit here and there, but yeah, I tell you, but he's actually all right. But you know what? Roland likes his motorsport. You know, he's not just about running a team, but he actually likes driving and having a steer. He's ridden motorbikes.
Yeah, race bikes. Yeah,
race bikes. We've had him on the show talking about that before. But I said to him, mate, no one gets a free lunch, even though. So I gave him advice about wet weather driving, but I said you have to come and sit right here.
Get grilled.
Get grilled and tell us about what's happening in supercar land, and give us some juice that no one else does. So
Okay.
without further ado, Roland Dane, everyone.
Is that you?
Hey?
Is that you making that?
No, we told him to do that.
Oh, right.
No,
Yeah.
not very popular amongst this crowd, mate. They love us.
Oh, well,
Jesus, they loved us, but
we need a bit of controversy.
Jesus Christ,
Let's
mate.
have some.
I thought you were
Yeah.
popular. I thought ever since we've had you on the show, you know, you're like as 3 times popular than
Well, your
than
ratings
you were.
go through the roof.
Well, hang on. Everyone thought you were a bit of a cock, but then after you come out the first show, they thought you were a genius.
My publicist did it all.
Okay.
Right?
I'd put him up to it. Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Anyway,
Can't have it your own way. So,
I brought my spare battery set
what's that for?
for my Mini.
Oh,
I came in my electric Mini.
Oh,
electric Mini.
Yeah. I heard you've been slagging off electric cars. Yeah. So I just had to bring my spare battery with me so I could get home later. I'm serious.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Something wrong with you, seriously. You're a good dude, but you're a weird cat. But anyway. How you been? All good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got through the year.
God, talk about that. A year, huh?
Unbelievable. And,
yeah.
And big effort, and again, and we said it on the last show and this show again, all the and I'm sure you're part of this, and will echo my sentiments about the teams, you know, about the mechanics, the cooks and everyone that was involved behind the scenes there of just relocating, not seeing their families for months on end as well. Big effort.
Yeah, but not only the teams. I mean, the teams clearly are the pointy bit that we all see. But then you had the race director, you had other people who were involved in it who had to relocate in a hurry. Even Tim Schenken came back for Bathurst. He had to do 2 weeks quarantine to come to Bathurst. You know, he went to Darwin and did that, like Garth Tander and I think Caruso did.
where did he quarantine? At Sheridan or something in Sydney?
Sorry? Where did what?
Sheridan in Sydney or something, was he?
Who?
Tim.
No, he was in Darwin.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
In the camp with all...
Yep, in the camp. Why do you think his suntan's still there? Yeah. So, yeah, you had to top it up. But you've got all those people, and then back in Sydney, you had Supercars management, but particularly Anthony Hogarth, who's the legal counsel for Supercars, who I'm sure you know. And,
I never got that far up the food chain.
No, I thought you might have had the odd legal run-in.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Anyway,
No cease and desists.
but Anthony had to maintain that relationship between Supercars and the state governments.
Okay.
And that was weird. You had every state government had a different idea of how the country should be run, and so he had to navigate that whole situation to enable us to get here, get there, and everything. So there's a lot of hard work. My point is a lot of hard work put in by a whole range of people.
Sure.
And the teams were at the pointy bit, and pointy end rather, and the Melbourne teams in particular. But everyone in the whole industry had to work really hard to keep going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get you straight on it, because you're one of the homologation teams for the new Gen 3. Can we come up with a better name than that? Gen 3 and all these Gen things, can you? I don't know.
Whatever.
Car, yeah, we've already had Car of the Future, haven't we?
Yeah.
What's the lowdown? Where are we at with it? What are we doing with it? Or what are they doing with it? Are they on the right track, or are they being a bit limp-wristed about it? What's the deal?
Who's they?
Supercars, Commission, who I don't know. There's that many boards, commissions and that, which again is something I've got an issues with. There's too many chiefs. But
Yeah, you might not be wrong there. But the reality is that I think we are on track. It's not without its challenges, but what we've got to get to.
Hang on. Where's it? I always read between the lines with your comments. Where's the challenges?
The challenges are about making sure that everyone keeps focused on what we're trying to achieve and the date that we're trying to achieve it by.
Other teams, Manny.
Not so much the other teams, because there are two homologation teams, but it's the industry as a whole. You know, the board, the commission, as you said, there's plenty of. There's Gen 3 committee. There's all these people involved that we got to try and make sure we don't lose sight of what we're trying to get to. You know, what the picture is at the end of this road. So there are clearly challenges in something like this, but I think we are on the right track at the moment with the car and the timing and what we're trying to achieve. But what we've got to make sure that we don't trip over, and one of the areas that people can trip over on is being, for instance, obsessed by the price of the car. Now, it isn't actually the cost of the car itself. Whilst that's important, what's much more important is the running costs of the car. So how much money it takes to run one, how many people you need, because that goes on for years. So trying to save 10 grand on the cost of the car up front is crazy if it's going to cost you 100 grand a year extra to run it. So,
like a transmission, for example.
For example.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct. But that could apply to.
Put the 40 grand one in, not the 20 grand transmission.
If it's going to mean that you can put it in and use it for half a season without having to look at it, then it has huge benefits.
Okay, that makes sense.
So and that's what we've got to try and remember is the long-term life of these cars. So look at a 5-year shelf life, for instance, because who knows what's happening in 5 years' time? Only the liars. So we've then got to keep the focus on the running costs of these cars, what it costs us to maintain them and run them competitively for hopefully a reasonable part of the field. You can't go lowest common denominator all the time, but you've got to take a mid-range and say, okay, well, what's sensible? What suits as many pockets as possible?
Right.
So we're trying to do that.
I sort of wasn't on your train, but I got one leg on it now. And that's why we got you here, to explain this sort of stuff. Because I still think overall the whole cost of the car is too expensive, because they're saying $350,000.
Yep.
I presume that's for a roller, or is that complete?
No, that's with an engine.
A complete car.
Yeah. Makes a big difference.
That'll be 400,000.
Oh, I think it's
because there'll all be GST onto it, and that'll blow it to 400. To me, that
GST is irrelevant.
You get it.
It's not relevant.
I say that flippantly, not actual GST.
Oh.
They say 350,000. It'll be 400. So to me that's still 100 grand too dear.
You've got to set a target, Russell, and you also got to make sure that the car is achieving its objectives. So we've tried to set a target as low as we can, But you've also got to understand there are bits that go into these cars. I mean, there's $50,000 worth more safety equipment in the cars than there was when we did Car of the Future, right? When you look at the homologation of the seats, the homologation of the seat rails, you look at the leg, the impacts for the leg protection system, etc. You add all the G sensor that you have to have in there now. It all adds up. Well, you forget those things when you're sitting there looking at it from over here. But when you're in the trenches, you know that those costs are hard costs.
Okay.
Right?
I'm running with you so far.
So you've also got...
It's like the halo, mate.
Huh?
Well, correct.
Cost you 10 grand more to put a halo on, you're going to put it on, aren't you?
But are you taking into account those whole costs as such? Does that include when you're taking running costs of not only the car but everyone else around?
Well, the whole
that runs the car as well.
No, the whole point of the running cost is the people.
It's the people, yeah.
100%. And
that means not as much telemetry.
Well, it actually telemetry is something that used to cost us a fortune. Today it doesn't. Okay, so you've got to understand where your costs are. So your costs come from the number of people that we employ to run a race team.
Yep.
Can you do it competitively with fewer people? That's what we're getting to. That's what we're trying to get to.
Yeah.
Now, actually, we took a big step this year. With the limitation of people at the track that we've had, has been really positive.
Has that been an indicator? Something that was forced on you that you've gone, oh, geez, we still ran a championship and it still was pretty good?
Correct.
Yeah, 100%. You all had engineers sitting back at home crunching numbers anyway.
Well, it's a lot cheaper than taking them with you.
Yeah, but they've still got to get rid of them, haven't you?
Why? Then,
sorry, I've just fallen off the carriage, dude. No, I've just fallen off the carriage. You got to reduce that.
Russell,
but you've had more than any of them.
Listen, okay.
Yeah.
So what does it cost you to have a guy sitting at home as opposed to taking him to the circuit?
Is he on
Far less.
Is he on $100,000 wage?
He might be on $50,000.
You're not going to get a $50,000.
Yes, you are. You get a young data guy $50,000 sitting at home.
Yeah.
Okay, but and you've got to protect yourself against when you've only got 11 or 12 people at the circuit. You've got to protect yourself for when those people leave. Right. So if you haven't got a pipeline of people, of mechanics, of other people, they might be working in Super 2, etc. That's one part of it. The reality is you can't shut the stable door after the horse has bolted. And you cannot stop communications. You can't stop the fact that everyone.
But it's all right for teams that have got the budget to do that. There's still a lot of teams. I don't even know how they're surviving. I don't know how they make the grid. Half those teams, because I know
they're still there, and there's more.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know where they get the money from, because I know the game, and I know some of the sponsorships dollars that they've been getting, and
we could have had 26
hemorrhaging.
cars on the grid this year potentially. Sorry, next year. Right?
Yeah.
So that tells me people can still find the money. Right?
I don't know how they're doing it.
Well,
but yeah, it may make the grid, but are they going to be competitive or just making up the numbers?
Well,
that's what I'm saying. What I want to see is that everyone goes to the track and has a fair shot at getting a result.
Yep.
Has a fair shot at getting a result.
But
that balance. And look,
are you saying all the bad drivers have got to get a shot? Are you saying...
No, not at all.
Exactly.
Not at all. No, I take that.
Or the bad teams, the people who don't do their homework properly? Why are they going to get a shot? I mean, it's a meritocracy. Competition is a meritocracy.
Don't use big words on the show.
Sorry, mate. Have you got a pen?
Hang on. I don't even know what that is, but anyway.
It's capitalism. Another word for capitalism. And you quite like capitalism, don't you? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You have been a bit of a fan over the years,
yes.
Right? And you quite liked Stone Brothers having a decent budget back in the day, didn't you?
Anyway, folks, that's the end of it. Let's thank Roland Dane for pissing off out of here. Yeah, but look where it's ended up. At the end of the day, don't you think? Hang on, that I still think it was more competitive amongst the teams in general back then than it is now. I think the gap has widened.
Well, I think actually we're all capable, and especially people of our age, right? We're all capable of wearing rose-tinted spectacles and looking back and thinking it was better back then.
Yeah.
Now, actually, if you look back to the early 2000s, that period, let's say from 2000 to 2010, actually it was dominated different periods were dominated by 1 or 2 teams, right? And you say it was better, but actually, look at the number of race winners and compare it with today.
Yeah, hang on.
It hasn't changed.
Yeah, but you're always going to get that. But I'm saying the amount of teams that had got half a chance, at least getting in the top 5, you know, and getting. Well, that's what I say about half a result.
Yeah,
in teams being and not being getting lapped. You know, actually being half competitive.
Well, far fewer people get lapped today than did 10 years ago.
Yeah.
People had much more chance of getting lapped 10 years ago.
You're second off the pace in your last.
Yeah, 10 years ago.
In qualifying. In qualifying.
Anyway.
But it stretches out during the race. But
of course it does, because you've got some drivers who are better at managing the tyre, everything, than other drivers. That's the way it should be.
But I'm just saying as a fan point of view, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't have anything to do with it anymore. So I'm putting this to you just as a race fan.
Look,
that I want to see that I'm saying, and these guys would be the same thing, be sitting there and going, give me a better spectacle, give me better competition.
And the problem is that we've delivered a good spectacle for years and years, and people want to keep getting better, right? And that's the nature of the world. You know, we want to keep getting better. Yeah. So the reality is we need to spice up certain aspects of what we do. I mean, the biggest single impediment to good racing to me is too much aero on the cars, right? So, and that's a separate topic completely from the cost thing and everything else. So we need to deal with that. We need to make, actually, that'll have the effect of making the cars trickier to drive. It'll make the cars more difficult to drive, to manage.
We've spoken this dozens of times on the show with you on it.
And watch the grid open up.
Yeah.
Because the good drivers, will show up even more, because they'll be better able to manage a car with a small tyre, big power, and not enough aero.
Yeah, but hang on.
But
you were the consequence of hot rodding the homologations along with the Ford guys as well.
No, but you've got to do
along the
your
way
job.
that snug the aero up 30%.
You've got to do your job.
Yeah,
that's why we go.
It wasn't meant to be there, though, was it?
No, but your job as a race team, Mercedes' job in Formula One, is to maximise the rules, right? The responsibility to make sure that the rules are right in the first place, that happens back there. When you go and do your job, you've got to do your job properly. And you shouldn't be, in any form of motorsport, you do your job properly, you shouldn't be shot for it.
I'm going to go in here because
Yes, sorry, mate.
We're going to be here all night. But for me, if you've got to have engineers at home trawling through data, the people watching don't care.
Well, you haven't got to, Paul. Well, so the point is on Gen 3 is that the data will be hopefully limited to, and it won't be got rid of, okay? Because the horses are bolted, and we've got kids coming out of karting who know all about data. I can go and buy
$800. You can get it. It's getting cheaper.
Yeah, $1,000 dash in the XL. Right. Gives you more data than you had 20 years ago in a supercar.
Yep.
So you can't stop that. GPS now is so accurate that you don't, that every kid's got it. So we can't undo that. So what we're going to try and do is make sure the data is controlled. It's not too much, but we're looking at where it actually helps you go racing. That there isn't too much, because if you're not careful, what happens is that the teams with really good simulation then get a leg up on everyone else. So you take damper pots off the cars, for instance, which might happen.
Right, now we're getting down, so cut them off.
You take off damper pots, all you do is play
Should you do that for next year?
So, but then you'll play into the teams with the good simulation, because they've
already got it.
They've got that simulation already, right? And for Gen 3, they'll create it. So that's the issue. Damper pots, do they cost us a lot? No, because we now use the rotating
ones.
ones.
Just ban the simulation, because you can't.
How can you ban simulation? You can't police it, right? There's no way you can police it. So you've got to be careful and do things that also fit in with the times. And I don't mean our times. I mean what the expectation is of the 15-year-olds and the 18-year-olds who are coming through now.
Young people that still want to be involved and get into the sport for...
Correct. But you need to be able to run... I did a white paper, if you like, for Supercars 2 years ago, pre-COVID, pre-anything, of how much money you should need to be competitive. And it was based around a certain number of people, because that's your biggest single expense. And that still holds. And everyone's now looking at that and saying, oh yeah, that's where we need to be going. And that's what we're trying to do.
The overall, so you're saying the overall cost isn't going to change much from where it is?
Yes,
but
it is.
Absolutely. What's the car now, by the way? What's a
650, 600?
To build a car?
Yeah.
650.
Is it
with an engine?
Yeah.
Oh, with an engine, it costs 650.
Which has gone up a lot more than I thought it was $500,000. So, which is still to me a lot of money.
Well, $500,000 was a long time ago, mate, and there's people who didn't know what it was really costing them.
But mate, how did it get that out of control that it went up so much?
But you also got to understand that, Russell, what you haven't taken into account as well is that, which has a bearing on it as well, is the exchange rate at any given time, right? When you've got big parts of the cars coming from overseas, the exchange rate affects it all as well. You know, if you've got if we're dollar for dollar with the US, which we've been sometimes, then it's much cheaper. Yeah, we're hovering around 70 or whatever at the moment, etc. Then it's 30% more expensive to buy those parts from the US. And the same applies to Europe. You know, so I mean, you're involved in some of the supply of parts and everything.
It does fluctuate.
And it fluctuates.
But don't you agree that this should have been talked about and discussed a little bit earlier down the road? Like, has it been left, you know, until has got to this stage? Because you got to admit it. You have to admit it's got pretty out of control.
It's always possible to say, I wish we'd done something a year before or 2 years before. It's always possible to look back on most decisions in life and say, oh, that would, if we'd thought about it harder, we would have done that sooner or whatever. So the fact is we're doing it now, right? And we're trying to address the issue of having cars that race better, first and fundamentally, and cost less to run. And those are the two biggest ticket items: cost less to run and race better.
And the most important thing for me will be it looks like the car that you buy.
And the
Mustang looks like a Porsche at the moment.
Oh, does it? I'd give my money. I want my money back if my Porsche looked like that. I can tell you.
An old Porsche.
Sorry?
An old 911, an old Porsche, not a new Porsche.
Well, I've got an old Porsche.
It doesn't look like
luckily, it doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
But so we do need to get to the cars looking like they are the road car. Yeah, with a tweak here. Yeah, that 100% we need to get to that, so that people can identify with them. It doesn't matter if they don't buy them or whatever. They've got to be able to identify.
Well, forget the win on Sunday, sell on Monday. That's gone. The whole I hope they realise.
Bit of that. Bit of brand loyalty too.
Yeah, that's what we spoke about.
Not necessarily with the cars though.
So I spoke about earlier, Paul. Make it about a race category now. You know, and you're a racer. You want to race and connect back with the fans as well. That's the single biggest item out of everything, because, you know, we've been sitting here talking about the car, and I know that's a lot to do with the entertainment value, but I think it goes deeper than that too, of engaging more with our fan base, or the fan base, I shouldn't say more the fan base of the category.
And look, the best measure of our fan base is the number of eyeballs, right? Because you know and I know that the people who are passionate about it, like our audience here, or the people who are, you know, keyboard warriors, I think you call them, etc. Those people, they're a small number of the overall number of eyeballs. What counts is how many people watch us, how many people are watching Bathurst in particular, but over the year, how many people are watching our telecast. That's the biggest single thing. The next thing is how many people are buying tickets, and those are the things, because that tells you whether the sponsors, and put the car companies aside for a minute, all the other sponsors are interested.
Yes.
Now, if you look at where we're at now, you know, compared with 3-4 months ago, we didn't have a television deal 3-4 months ago. So, and I can tell you, we're all bricking it. We're all, you know, saying, because without a television deal, we haven't got a category. Now, we then got a television deal, which, to be honest, is exactly in Teamland pretty much what we wanted. Yeah, Channel 7, because Channel 10 has been a disappointment. So for whatever reason, doesn't matter, they're not the same company that we dealt with 15 years ago, etc.
They didn't put the effort in that they should have.
They didn't have the cross promotions, everything else. So Channel 7 understand our sport well.
Should give us an uplift.
It will give us an uplift.
Should they have the whole championship?
And, well, the thing is that Fox give something that they can't give, right? They give something for extra for all the people like you and I who watch Formula 2, right? Or watch MotoGP the way we do. You know, they give you much more, which a mainstream channel can't do, you know, a free-to-air channel rather. So it actually suits us to have both. And you've got the hardcore really want to watch it on Fox or KO. And you've got then your audience, which watches sport in general or whatever, watching it on 7. So and 7 will promote the highlights properly, unlike 10. So when they haven't got it as a free-to-air, you know they'll give it good coverage. And honestly, Russell, I mean, you'll see in January, in our case, we've got the best lineup of sponsors we've ever had, right? Now, the overall amount of money might be smaller than it was 7, 8 years ago, but the quality of the sponsors we've got, ASX-listed companies, international brands, etc., we have never had a lineup like it. No Supercars team has ever had a lineup like it, and any sport in the country would like to have it. And that's because they think we've still got a great fan base, a passionate fan base, and we've got a great television deal. So it can't all be bad.
You're selling it well.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I am, a salesman.
Look, I realise, I mean, we're throwing a bit at you, and we're going to ask our audience if they've got a few questions for you as well, and we're throwing it.
Can I jump in here?
Yeah.
How many people here have got Fox?
I need my wing mirrors.
Well, you just proved it's probably 70% of the people.
Because they're passionate fan base.
I'd say 50.
KO would watch it on that platform. So what you're saying is we've got proper race fans here. They will go looking for that content and pay to have it.
Paul,
Because they like it. That's what they want.
You and I and Russell, and he's the meanest man in Christmas.
I was buying what you were selling. I just wanted to see if it was true.
Yeah, but hang on. How many people here, if it was on the whole championship was on free-to-air, would watch Supercars again or?
See, what you're forgetting is that free-to-air comes with a price. Advertising. Right? And we used to piss and moan, all of us used to piss and moan like mad, as LP used to say back in the day, about the number of adverts.
Yep.
And all these people sitting behind us used to as well in Fanland. They used to fill the wires after a race meeting and say, why did you cut to an advert then? Now, they used to be able to manage it years ago in the Channel 10 days by actually, it started off live at 2 o'clock in the Arvo. By the time you got to 4 o'clock, it was as live. Because what they'd done is throw to an ad, and then they picked up the action.
This controversy, didn't we?
But they picked up the action as though the ads didn't exist, so you didn't miss anything. But with the advent of social media, and you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
So that's the world that we live in.
I think you're right. I think you're onto something. Like I would normally buy Fox, and you've got to buy all the stuff you don't want to watch. But now you can get KO, and just I want Motorsport.
Correct.
I'm in.
100%.
Because I bought what I want. I don't want to watch A-League soccer.
And you don't want adverts.
I don't want to watch the movies or whatever. So if you can just get what you want.
But you don't want to watch adverts, do you?
No.
If a MotoGP race is on, you want to watch it.
And don't forget the big paycheck that you get along with it.
No, that's all part of it.
With what?
With
The
pay
rights.
TV.
Yeah.
Well, you
the
get,
rights.
what is it,
So-
$25 a month for KO?
No. What Fox pay
Oh, it's from
to the category? Yeah, from
it's
income,
great.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course, but it gives an opportunity for the people who really, really want to dive into the sport, want to watch, you know, the pre-bit, the post-bit, everything, etc.
Like all the stuff Larko used to do.
Yeah, but all of that stuff
So
gives you an opportunity.
Hang on, we'll get onto that. But so you're saying that would a free-to-air channel match or better what money that Foxtel put in?
Well, it's a division of the, there's a X amount.
They'd have to throw
X amount of dollars, and to be honest, I'm not going to tell you what the divide is. And to be in the latest deal, I couldn't tell you.
No, to have it exclusive. I'm not saying the divide. I'm saying exclusive. A free-to-air network to say, no, we want Supercars exclusive.
But they're not going to pay as much.
They're not.
As a mixed deal.
Okay.
They're not going to pay as much for AFL. They're not going to pay as much for NRL. They're not going to pay as much for the cricket or anything else.
Okay.
So that's why all those sports are divided up.
So you can't get near it.
No,
is it close, or is it not even in the?
No,
same?
you can't get near it, and because they can't show the amount of content
On the main channel.
that Fox or KO can, or even across the sub channels, they can't show as much content.
Okay, cool. I think you've...
I'm not saying their product's no good. I think the product's excellent.
Yep.
That they put to air. There's no doubt about that.
Yep.
But it's just that you can't also deny that the viewers have declined since they've gone with a pay TV.
And part of that is because, not all of it. Part of that's because the free-to-air partner we had didn't do a good job.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens.
Well, we got what we got.
From now on.
You've unravelled that good for us.
So going on that, if you want, if it's all part of a good telecast,
Yep.
we've got the article here that what was the deal with Larkham? That came out of the blue this week.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, where do you sit on that? I mean, and what do you know about it? I've spoken to Mark, and I think he was a little bit broadsided with it.
Right.
He didn't really see it coming.
Yeah.
And you know, up to the stage that I called him, I've been the only one that's been on the blower to him, and I know how that feels, by the way.
Hang on.
I don't think you even rang me either.
Hey?
Did you ring me?
Of course I did, mate.
I think you did. Okay. Actually, Greg Murphy was the only other one that rang me.
Of course I rang you.
But I mean, popular figure.
Yep.
Probably the most popular figure amongst the telecast in general.
Yep.
Across the board, whether you take anyone there, including Neil Crompton. I mean, he's been in the game, knows it, explains it well.
Yep.
I've spoken to all our guests here during the day about it, and everyone says that he at least puts everything in layman's terms that they can understand.
Yep.
Why would you bone that?
I think it goes back to to one of the issues that not only we have, but other sports have as well, is that television is now made by County Hall, right? So television is made by Supercars, and we're making a product that's actually going to two different audiences. So we've got a Fox audience, which we've just discussed, and we've got a Channel 7 audience.
With a generic
generic
production.
Yeah. So, and
production.
with the space for the Larco content is on Fox. Now, and I personally was in Patrick Delaney's ear, as he'll tell you, for a couple of years to get Larco into the telecast, I think in through 2017 into, and I think he came on board in 2018, I think, 17 or 18, because I thought he was an asset to this audience and to us. Now, is he an asset for the Channel 7 audience? That's more difficult. Okay, so where you're appealing to a much broader part of the population. Now, Sol Stein, who's no longer at Channel 7, but he used to say, bring me to the broadcast 30 seconds before the race starts and cut me off 30 seconds after it finishes. That's what I want. I want the race. Okay, I don't want what goes here. I don't want what goes here and the lead-ups and everything. And that's Fox's role. But unfortunately,
they'll top and tail it.
We've got one broadcast. Okay, we've got one set of commentators. So we've when it started off with Channel 10, you had their input, you had a different view of the world from the Fox one, you had room for that. You can see in Formula One this year how we watched the Sky UK content here in Australia, so that's what we get. And you can see how they've started to toe the party line in a lot of what they're saying. So they're reflecting the views of FOM more than they used to, in my opinion, as watching it. Right. And because they're in a world which they're very privileged to be in right now, because there are almost no journalists going to these races at the moment this year, and there are very few TV people allowed in there. So they don't want to rock the boat, or they'll get left at home. Yeah. So even that has gone a bit down that route to me this year, which is a bad thing. But that's what we've got, is we haven't got any more an independent broadcast being done over here and then a separate one here. So,
so basically, the nutshell, we've got one production for 2 different channels
with a different audience.
With a different,
yeah,
and
unfortunately,
the reason being trimming costs, I suppose.
Maybe, but I think certainly somewhere it's trimming costs. Yeah. But so to me, there's room for all the content that Larco does. For our passionate fans, for people who want to know about this and that, it's where you put it. And at the moment, as Supercars, as an industry, we haven't found where to put that. And people have tried
Lucky we're
things.
here then.
Sorry?
Lucky we're here then.
Independent.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. But you are independent.
It certainly proved to be unpopular. I'll give you the strong tip.
What,
from what I've read.
Larco? Yeah, because but it's proved unpopular with the passionate fans, right? Because the passionate fans are the people who want that content. To me, we have to find a way of having a platform which MotoGP have managed very well with their over-the-top product, OTT product that they provide, where you can go in and find all that content. If you want to know how long Marc Marquez's swing arm is, as opposed to Alex Marquez's, you can find it.
I'm glad you said swing arm.
That's a good explanation of it, Roland.
So we need to find a home for that content, because people still want it. They still want to hear from Larco. It's where we put it. And that's what we hear. To me, that's what we haven't worked out.
It's almost like we need a independent show.
Correct.
Yeah.
Well,
We do.
we do. I think that definitely lacks from the telecasters' difference of opinion on certain things. Even
totally.
on track action, everyone sings from the same hymn book.
Yeah, but you need to call us all out when we screw up.
Yeah.
And that doesn't matter whether it's Supercars or a driver or a team. You got to call us out. Now, if you look at...
but hang on. Whoa.
Well, you have...
I've been sitting here listening to you, and I've sort of been half on your train, half. I can tell you, absolutely... I should be waving a pen at you. I can tell you, this is one of the things that really pissed me off my time working with, not so much with Fox, but working, and this was a supercar issue, is so many things that went on, and there was issues, and I can name a few off. There was a tyre delamination thing at Phillip Island years ago, and all this sort of stuff.
Towing the party line.
Mate, we got hauled up, and this is absolute fact, you know, we got hauled up, and no, we won't be talking about this, and he'll handle this and this, and we go, oh, hang on. Yeah, it's not a good look, but let's debate it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, but that's not the team, that's Supercars.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
the point,
propaganda.
Let's not talk anything that's bad against the sport. And to me, you've got to have a balance.
We should do.
You can't see or float like you take the Formula 1 telecast. Martin Brundle.
Yeah.
Mate, he smashes Formula 1 up sometimes. Like
Yeah,
he's on the main cab. No, true. But horses for courses. Yeah, but he did though. If there was a problem and an issue,
or a driver,
he would say, look, he said,
driver does something.
In my opinion, absolutely. You can't. Everything can't be roses.
No.
You know, and that's.
So, I couldn't agree more. And every so often, as individuals, that can piss us off. Right? When you get called out as an individual or a team or whatever, and you know that the team that's next to us and the garage that's next to us has banned certain people from the garage after they've given them a hard time on television. Yeah, well, right? Yeah. Which is nonsense.
You can't do that.
Yeah, but that's what that shouldn't be allowed to go on.
Not at all.
Right? So we all have to be accountable at the end of the day to the fans. Right?
That's all important. These guys here, that's the only thing that's important. The only thing. And unfortunately, and I'm getting with everything you're saying, but part of the drama it has been is forget the cost of the sport and everything, forgotten about the passionate. You're saying about the passionate fans, they're the ones that feel like they got forgotten about, because you look at any social media, and I know people that are part of the telecast that aren't even on social media. So how do you know your audience when you're a key member and you're not even on social media? I don't particularly like some aspects of social media. I don't like some of the poisonous stuff that goes on about it. But you have to be on it to gauge And we do it to gauge who our audience is.
You do, Russell, but you've also got to remember there's a huge part of the audience that's not on social media, right? Now, I mean, I'm still a big soccer fan, and I like the EPL, the English Premier League. But I never follow any social media about it whatsoever. But I want to know what's going on all the time. I never follow social media about it. Formula One, I never follow any social media about it.
State of Origin footy.
Yep.
Everyone watches it. I don't watch the normal footy. I think it's probably like Bathurst, isn't it?
Yep. It is. It is exactly
That's
like
a good point.
Okay. All right. Well, speaking of the fans, that's exactly. I'm going to grab my mic, and we've broken the budget and got an audio guy today, so I can get a mic. I'm going to go around, ask these few guys a few questions. They're going to throw back at you, or they're going to ask me questions, throw back at you. You guys can answer them. And, so this part of the segment is brought to you by motorsportsales.com.au. If you've got something to sell that's motorsport related, motorsportsales.com.au, that's the place to go. All right, I'll go see what everyone's got on their minds, mate.
Good on you, mate.
All right, okay. Who we got? Anyone? Whoop, up the back here. Name and question.
Bruce is my name, and the question is, would more cars on the grid reduce the costs of the running of supercars?
There you go, Roland, that might be one at you.
So I'm deaf, mate. We've been around motor racing too long.
More cars on the grid for next year and following years. You've already gone on that, saying that you could get 26. Would that reduce the costs overall for teams if there was more cars on the grid?
Potentially it might cost more because it might hit each other more often. No, it wouldn't make it cheaper. Personally, I'm not against having more cars on the grid. Won't happen next year, but in 2022, I think there's a very good chance that it will, that we might get back to having 26 cars out there. We'll wait and see if there's the demand, but hopefully if there is the demand, we'll get back to 26. I think more cars up to a certain limit, 26, 28 makes sense. You don't want too many because you'll end up with some dodgy quality, but it won't affect our running costs for the existing cars.
Okay, who else we got?
Good one.
Yeah.
My name's Scott. I heard a rumour on Enforcer and the Dude that Brock Feeney's going to 888 Motorsport.
Well, it's more than a rumour. He's driving with us in Super 2 next year. So he will have a really sharp young team next year, two 18-year-olds with Brock Feeney and Angelo Mazouras, who was Formula Ford champion a couple of years ago. So yeah, we're looking forward to running them both, and Brock continuing to progress the way he has in the last year especially, but looking forward to that a lot.
Is that sort of future-proofing when the Wing Cup departure happens, possibly?
Look, it's like anything. If you need to have a pipeline, whether it's sponsors, whether it's drivers, whether it's mechanics, whether it's engineers. So the guys are part of that pipeline, and it'll be up to them to show how good they are and see if they're in a position to step up when the time comes.
Okay, name and question.
Justin, just wondering if closing pit lane under safety cars is a viable option going forward.
Well, that's a question that we've debated every so often for all the time I've been racing in Australia, which is 17 years. And we haven't done it because it creates too many other problems. So you've got the issue of somebody who's already done their stop, for instance, and then the people who haven't done their stops. And the people who haven't done their stops then take a massive whack for it. So, we've also got the issue of shared booms and things, etc., which comes into it. So overall, the consensus is that we don't shut pit lane during safety cars. The only issue for me personally is Phillip Island, which has got the narrowest and most dangerous pit lane in Australia, which is a shame because it's one of the best circuits in the world, let alone Australia. But the pit lane is a disgrace. So that makes it hard when it fills up with cars under a safety car. But when you've got mature drivers driving properly, and you saw it at Bathurst. It's got a nice wide pit lane. Since 2004, we've had a fantastic facility there, and proper use of the pit lane by drivers, and you saw that with Fabian Coulthard at one point, I think, when he had to stack up behind Scotty McLaughlin, and he made sure he left room for Shane, I think it was, to get out in between the two of them. That's respectful use of pit lane, and that's the way it should be. So the overall balance that everyone's talked about for years is we've always come out on the side of, no, we'll keep it the way it is.
Okay.
G'day, Brian. Is there a time in your career that you ever felt scared in a motor vehicle? And second question is, moving forward, other than when you used to race with Paul, is there any other particular driver that used to intimidate you?
Is this for me?
There.
Yeah. There's been a couple of times I've been scared, for sure. But it's only when the accidents are happening, I think. And once it's over, you're pretty keen to get straight back into competition. So yeah, that's for me. Like, you're scared when you're about to hit the fence. You're like, oh, I'm scared because I'm about to hit the fence. But post the incident or whatever, no real train of thought to worrying about anything.
What about you, Roland? Has any drivers intimidated you?
Well,
there was one at Morgan Park the other day.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. The time I've been most scared actually was I shit a brick in a major way. At early 80s at a place called Zolder in Belgium, when I spun in a Ford Fiesta one-make race, and I was facing the wrong way on the exit of a corner that was almost flat out in one of those, and the next car to come round was a few seconds behind me, and I've spun like this, and I'm in the track like this, and he's coming straight for me head on, and I'm having a word with myself while this is going on, and then he hit me literally head on, and luckily that my car just went a long way down the track, and then sort of dealt with the energy side of it. But my glasses went through my helmet like this and ended up on the dashboard. And I didn't realise that at the time. As I was sitting back at the fence, I thought I'd gone blind. And I've come up, the marshals come running over to me, and the windows in those days, no door nets, and the window was down and everything. The marshals put his head in and said to me in Belgian English. Luckily they speak English a lot better than I spoke Flemish, and he said, "You okay?" And I said, "No, I'm blind." And he said, "Oh, maybe put your glasses on." They were on the top of the dashboard. So, but I definitely was scared in that moment. As Paul says, in the middle of it, I was very worried.
Anyone else? We've got, whoop, right down the end here. Okay, I'm running with you.
My name's Glenn. I'd like to know, or could you tell me why the Chev Camaro isn't being introduced next year and it's being held off to 22?
Yeah, well, that's purely because the timing of getting everything ready for the Generation 3, the Gen 3 car. So the Chevy Camaro wouldn't fit on the current chassis unless you bastardized it the way the Mustang has been. And there is absolutely no way that General Motors would allow that to happen. So therefore the chassis had to be changed. So the new chassis has been designed, which will allow the fitment of two-door cars properly without compromise onto the chassis. And that's the overall big picture reason why it won't happen until 2022.
Last one. Yep.
Rossi, I'd like to congratulate Roland on spinning a Ford Fiesta, firstly. And secondly, I wondered about the percentage he contributed to Ford's three-peat. That dig in the ribs at Adelaide about building a better mousetrap, how'd they go?
You mean them winning 3 championships in a row? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the reality is that they did a better job, and but the size of the job they did or the quality of the job they did is related to the checkbook they had. And they had a far bigger checkbook than anyone's had in the history of the sport in Australia. So if they hadn't won, they would have looked very bad. But the fact is they did do the better job on the day. Now, yeah, the dynamics change for next year, and we'll see what happens. But they'll still be up there, because they'll still ride the crest of that wave for a few years to come, in my opinion. But certainly next year. But yeah, they did it. They did a great job. Having said that, they only won Bathurst once. So yeah, we won Bathurst twice in the last 3 years, and I'd prefer to win Bathurst twice.
Oh, geez, talk of it. hang on. Don't pump up his tyres, folks, because he does a pretty good job of pumping up his own tyres. He's the best self-mechanic around.
Yeah. Hi, Roland. You mentioned one of the challenges was a fluctuating dollar caused by components coming into the country. I was wondering if Supercars are doing anything to help local companies potentially capitalise on those particular gaps in component supply.
So if there is a choice, and this has been the case for years in my experience, if there is a choice of buying something that is sourced in Australia as opposed to overseas without it costing the category appreciably more, that choice will always be taken. The fact is that we're in a market of 25 million people that's spread out over the biggest island in the world. So it's very hard for us to make stuff in Australia for the same price, because we don't have the same volume that in the United States with 330 million people, or Europe with 500 million people. We don't have those economies of scale. Now, we get a little bit back because of no shipping, for instance, and etc. But overall, it's bloody hard to. But we do, wherever we can have something sourced in Australia that can be sourced here without sacrificing quality and costing the teams too much money, then that's the policy. And it's very hard to do in reality. And I speak not only for Supercars, but I think I speak for an awful lot of businesses in the country who would gladly buy something if it was made in Australia, if that option was available to them without it costing a lot more money. You know, if your toolbox that you got at home was going to cost you the same amount of money made in Australia as made in China, you'd buy the Australian one. The reality is that's very hard to do.
Good answer, Roland. Yeah. I think that should be the same for any company.
You can get the PW radiator.
You can buy Australian made, buy Australian. Now, this isn't a 888 fest, this episode of Enforcer and the Dude, all right? But this car was here, and I spotted it and said, we got to have that on the show, because this is for Craig Sutton, actually, who's been a mate of mine, or mate of ours, on the show, and he's going to be racing this, or he's built it up as a bit of just a bash around, but he'll probably do a few races on it as well. Now, this is a 888 built Hyundai XL. And the reason I'm showing this to you is because twofold. Number one, because it's unbelievably built, but when you look at things like, or people say, well, why did 888 keep winning races, or why are they such a successful team? Have a look at site. So this is an old, how old is it, Roland?
20 years old.
20 years old. An old shell that was probably dragged out of a wrecker somewhere or bought on eBay somewhere. And have a look at the quality of build. Get in there, Pete, and have a good look around. Look at the gear shift that's been made for it. All to regulation, of course, to the current Hyundai XL series regulations. The thing is just immaculate, you know. Everything from the little carbon fibre step bits in here and on the dash. And you ask yourself, well, a mark of a successful team, if they can build a Hyundai XL to this quality, no wonder they're winning races. And like I said, this is not a pump up a Roland, because if I could kick him in the guts, I would. But the fact of the matter is, the team and the guys at 888, I mean, that put this together, it's just, I haven't seen anything like it. Have a look, quickly look under the bonnet. The thing is just a gem, you know. It's just, have a look at that. Can you believe it? And no, the other Hyundai Excel competitors and that, they actually look at this and go, man, I want one of these, or at least can I buy some components to make my Hyundai Excel look like this. But again, Roland's actually built one for himself as well. Really, really cool rigs, and well done, Roland. It shows a fair bit of class there too, and Craig's going to have a bloody lot of fun in this. And I'd get one myself, but you know, I've seen what Roland charges for things, and I don't think I'll be getting one of them soon. So now, I just want to get it very, very clear as well while we've got everyone in here. Speaking on that tone, I had put a call in to Ryan Story to keep a balanced view on this, and I wasn't able to get hold of him and to come on the show. So we did put the offer out there, or I did put the offer out there to balance it up. So I just want to put that well and truly clear, because we like to see, and we've had Ryan Story on the show before, so we like a balanced aspect with everything we do here. So the offer was put out. Roland always accepts, because I mean, that's a risk for Roland too, because we could smash him up. But and we try, like I said, we try to, but at the end of the day, he turned up. So it's all good. We try. Look, there's something else that I'd like to, or an individual, because we're rolling up the show now. Really appreciate our audience coming out today for the drive day, as well as coming on the program. Sue Dilger, come out here, Sue. But Sue's a very good friend of ours. Now, Sue has been responsible for how many years you've been with Castrol, Sue?
Oh, nearly 33. Oh, sorry, nearly 33.
33 years.
32 and a half, yeah.
Well, Sue ends up her time with Castrol in December. So after 33 years with Castrol, Sue's gone back with the days. Well, I first met Sue in at Larry Perkins. She does all the sponsor management for Castrol over all those decades. Put up with people like myself, Paul, Roland, have you ever had the pleasure? Yeah, I think, so to speak, you know.
I mean, Sue's dealt with pretty much everyone in pit lane who's been around for any length of time. She's dealt with, etc., and she's looked after every single person. She's a consummate professional at Castrol, as I'm sure any of us who've interacted would agree with. But how she's put up with you is absolutely beyond me.
Beyond me.
She needs to throw it. But why we recognise people like Sue, it's a bit like there was a guy called Simon McNamara who was with Holden for a lot of years, and John Stevenson before him. It's people like that drive companies to stay in the sport, you know. And we're not talking a little bit of involvement here. There'd literally be millions of dollars in sponsorship that's been spread amongst the category, the teams themselves as well. And it's not for people like Sue and Simon McNamara and all the previous people that have been involved with companies that are passionate about the sport and and if they weren't in it, those sponsors probably wouldn't be in the sport. So a round of applause.
Thank you.
For Sue Dilger. Yeah. So that's our last show until Christmas.
Christmas extravaganza show.
It is, yeah. It's been good. Roland, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it, and your support over the last couple of years. You've, like I said, you've been one of the fit, and we have you on because you've got something to say, good, bad, or indifferent. So
and
thanks for that.
When you let me say it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, mate, I can't let you look too good.
I'm trying to get you on the train.
Huh?
I'm trying to get you on the train.
Mate, I'm still dragging my knees, so I can tell you. I feel like Mark Marquez around turn one. Look, a big thanks also to our sponsors like Castrol, who supported us right from the very start. Boost Mobile, dude.
Yep.
Pete Adams has been really good to us.
He's been fantastic, mate.
This year, motorsportsales.com.au. Sue Dowell as well, who came on board this year. Even our previous sponsors from last year, DPO, all the guys down in Sydney from Direct Plasterboard Outlets, they jumped on right at the very start. So thanks to all those guys. Grays Online too.
Oh, yeah,
we had a real good fun with Grays Online, that supplies all those cars. So thanks to everyone that's been involved with the show. We got any life messages?
Yeah, I've got one, mate.
You got one? Okay, fire, dude. Yeah.
And I've been training these young kids, and they're getting younger and younger. And I've had a couple of fast 15-year-olds in here this week.
Yeah.
I've worked out a fast young one will beat a fast old one every day.
not sure I like that.
Huh?
I'm not sure I like that one.
The youth movement's coming, mate.
Youth movement?
The youth movement's coming.
Into television as well, maybe.
Hang on. Well, buddy. Well, we'll see after the Larkin thing. We'll see how that works out for you. But anyway.
Well, not for me.
Can't make up for experience, mate.
Yep, that's what I say.
Knowledge is gold.
I'm trying to live that line at the moment, as long as I can.
You got anything for us? You got a life message?
I mean, my motto still holds good. Assume nothing. Still holds good.
Really?
Yep. Don't assume things, and unless you really need to.
I thought yours might have been money's king.
That's your Russell. Well, I was going to say that's yours. It's not. Freebies.
Contra is king. Don't worry about that.
Ford, where are you with that Ranger?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't even get a discount. I'll pay for. No, I don't. I don't pay for freight. No, I don't. Sorry, nose is getting longer. Yeah. No, I don't pay full freight for anything.
Craig Sutton's got a Ford dealership now.
I know.
Yeah.
Just go one.
Yep.
Going on. See how good a mate he is. Hey, Craig. Craig. Hello. Yeah, right. All right, colleagues. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a safe Christmas. Drive safe on the roads as well. There's some damn lunatics out at the moment. I don't know what's happened about COVID, but everyone's driving like a dickhead at the moment. So let's just back it off, have a safe Christmas, and make sure we come out the other end pretty safe. So it's bye for us. See you soon.